guys, welcome back to another book review. Today we're going to talk about The Sinner's Duet by Sophie Lark. This is a dark romance series. I know a lot of people have read it and I know a lot of people haven't. I have heard a lot about this series, so I kind of went into this one with it really hyped up. It was not exactly what I expected, not necessarily a bad thing, but it was not exactly what I expected. I still rated it a 4-star read. It was still good. I do own actually 2 copies of the series. I do. So it's good. It's a good series. It's good. I'm not going to tell you it's not. It's a really good series. I did enjoy it. I am going to give you a disclaimer because a lot of times when we read dark romance, even if it's an obsessor stalker type, and this is not going to be a spoiler, I just want people to go in, because we know I go into books very blind. I don't usually know what's going to happen. It's easier for me to go into things blind because then I don't have an expectation, and it's easier for me not to be let down, because I've learned if I let people talk to me about books and I get really hyped up and I'm like, oh my God, this sounds so good, I want to read it. And then I read it and I'm like, wait, like... So that's happened to me more times than I want to admit. So I do better going into books blind. I go into them blind. That's who I am. It's just, it is what it is. And I don't have a whole lot of trigger warnings, so it's easier for me. Again, you're going to want to check the trigger warnings on this because it is a dark romance. But anyways, back to what I was saying. So, stalker, obsessive romance type. Usually in the stalker obsessive romance, the guy usually never wants to do her harm. He is obsessed with her. He is stalking her, and is not necessarily healthy, and to just pull up all the red flags. But he really, truly does not really want to do her harm, per se. Like, there might be a slight part of him that does, but for the most part of him, he doesn't. That is not how this one is going to start. I'm going to give you a straight up heads up. If that is what you're expecting, is to one going where he's so obsessed with her, he just can't get her out of his mind, and he's really just wants to make her his. That's not what you're going to, that's not how these are going to start. So be prepared with that jumping in. Because if that's what you're expecting, kind of like what I was expecting, based on just what people had told me, you're going to be like, kind of like I was, you're going to be like, wait, this is not what I expected. And I think, like I said, that's, I think kind of why I was kind of like, okay, this is not what I expected. Still a really great series, still really good, still very dark, still got a lot of unaliving in it. And once the romance takes off and the romance is where it belongs, it's really good. I really do like the storyline. I like the plot. I like the way the things unfold. I really felt like that was a really great thing in these books. I really did. I just, like I said, I expected the romance to be developing a little bit different from just the things I've heard. So I just wanted to make sure if you're going to look into reading this, that you are aware of how this one is going to be. It's not going to be what you expect. It's not going to be, for example, like Haunting Adeline. It's not going to start like that. It's going to be a little bit darker, a little bit, I'm just going to best way to put it. It's going to be a little bit darker. So be prepared if you're going to go into that one with a little bit of a darker, just a little bit darker. So check those trigger warnings. All right, I'm going to kind of give you an overall on this one, without trying to give away spoilers on kind of the whole thing. So it's set in an art scene, the whole art scene. There's upcoming artists, there's artists who are struggling, there's artists at the top, there's artists who are trying to make their way, there's the ones, I mean, it's got the whole scene wrapped up together. And there is some artists who are not such good guys. And one of the good guys, well, there's 2 guys that are not the greatest guys in the thing. And there's a girl involved. And some stuff happens, and she gets wrapped up in a situation with these guys that's not so great. And it really changes the course of her life for the better and for the worst. And that's all I'm really going to say on that one, because if I say too much, I'll give away book 1. And if I give away book 1, then I'm going to give away book 2. But there will be some romance, there is going to be stuff, and there will be closure on book 2. I can say, for a dark romance, if you are somebody who has to have a happily ever after, I'm going to kind of say, I'm not necessarily a spoiler, but I know some people really need to know, is there going to be happily ever after? Book 2, you are going to get somewhat of a happily ever after. For a dark romance, it's a happily ever, it's dark romance. It's your happily ever after you're going to get with a dark romance. So it is what you expect. That's really all I gotta say about this one. Like I said, it moves at a steady to a quicker pace. Like I said, just really dark. They are spicy. Some of the spicy scenes are gonna push a little more of the boundaries, just based on the scenes and the themes and stuff going on in the book. I don't want to say that they're necessarily in some of the more kink scenes. I don't want to get in trouble for saying that on my video, but they're not necessarily involved in those scenes per se. They're really not. But they do push some boundaries based on the unaliving and stuff and the things and stuff like that. So be prepared if you are going to go onto that and read onto them. Again, I think it's good. I really liked once the romance was romancing, and if I had went in being aware that the romance was going to unfold that way, I think I would have been a little more prepared. I just wasn't aware, and I don't watch videos. I go in blind. I don't. Anyways, so really good. I would recommend it for dark romance readers. I would say it's worth the read. I enjoyed it, and I think you might too.